been borrowed from the 1980s, 90s, 1970s, early 1980s downwards. Nigeria has continued to borrow money from the club and other multilateral agencies. That is, agencies like borrow money like the International Monetary Fund and other agencies. Nigeria has been borrowing money. Then during the regime of President Obasanjo, Obasanjo made a case for the forgiveness of Nigeria's debt. So that was when Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala was Minister for Finance. And after a lot of effort from Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, supported by Obasanjo's government, some of the agencies that Nigeria was owing debt decided to forgive Nigeria's debt and cancel some of the debts, including the Paris Club. When this debt was cancelled, Nigeria jubilated about it on the exit of the debt circles of the Paris Club. However, it was discovered that some of the cancelled debt that some money had been paid on some of those cancelled debts. Therefore, sometimes this cancellation of debt happened around 2003 or thereabouts. But sometime in 2005, Nigeria made a case that some of the debts cancelled had been repaid. Therefore, they needed a refund. And some of those refunds came back to government. On that basis, the Nigerian governors, under the governors forum, and the Nigerian local government, remember, in Nigerian government, we have the federal government, we have the state government, and we have the local government.
Yes.
All of them come together to form what we call the federation. And it was the Nigerian Federation that was owing. Now, some of these loans were being deducted, the payments that were made were deducted from accounts belonging to the whole federation. So when the refund came, the state government demanded that, look, this refund was not made to federal government alone, that a part of it should go to the state and local government, being part owners of the federation accounts. They kept pushing this, and the Obasanjo regime did not agree to refund the money to the state governments and the local government. The Yar'Adua regime did not refund the money. So they kept pushing up until lately 2017, when we got information that Buhari regime had started refunding the money to the states. And these monies were given to the governors to use for the welfare and well-being of the state and the people of Nigeria. Now, when this push for reform started, some persons who claimed they were consultants, who played key role in the recovery of the money, made cases that, look, we spent money in helping Nigeria to recover this money. Therefore, we were entitled to fees, consultancy fees.
Yeah.
Persons like Mr. Ned Nwoko from Delta State also have claimed he made critical input in the recovery of such money, and therefore he made a case for his and his company's consultancy services to be paid for. There were some other persons, and organizations that made case that their consultancy fees were not paid. Some of them claim that the governors forum engaged them to work out what were due to them in the states. Some also claim that the local government, under the aegis of ALGON, Association of Local Government of Nigeria, engaged them to help them sort out the papers and put together what was due to them in the state. And therefore, that they had an agreement to be paid a certain amount of money. So that was when the problem started. At the state, when Chibika Mechi was the chairman of the governors forum, the issue came up and they had a disagreement with those consultants, as it were. Eventually, the matter went to court, from what we know. Now, the Governors Forum agreed to settle out of court, and it was reported that about $370 million was agreed to be the payment and final payment to those consultants. And the money was approved. Therefore, it was understood that the money was paid to those consultants. But then, after some time, the issue came up again that about $418 million or $419 million, depending on who you are listening to, is still being outstanding to be paid to the claimants, the consultants, the people like Ned Wolf, what's his name, Nicholas Okachukwus and his company. Then there was these other guys. There are four of them. So they make cases that they be paid the balance. And the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister for Justice was seen to be dancing to the tune of those consultants.
True.
Acting to be disposed to paying them. And the current governors, led by Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, said no, that the documents they have showed that these people have been paid out. That if they had their way, they would even contest those amounts of money they have been paid, not to talk about paying them more money. So here, that is the origin of the new controversy now. So the matter has been dragging. The Attorney General Federation has been making case on why the consultants should be paid. That the governors had assented to out-of-court settlements. There was even a story of a consent judgment. That means that the parties who were involved in the court agreed, and the agreement was put to the court, and the court used it to arrive at a judgment. So at the end of the day, that there was no reason the governors should be raising issues again. But then the Nigerian Governors Forum have gone to court. One of their claims is that one of those consultants is claiming that he was engaged by a factional leader of Nigerian Governors Forum. And as long as they know that the Chief Committee was the leader, the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, and not the former governor of Plateau State, as they tried to claim. That he was only a factional, he was not recognized. Therefore, the Governors Forum claimed that these monies that these people are demanding are trumped up amounts, that they are trying to dupe the state government and the local government. And as you and I speak, the matter has been taken back to the Supreme Court.
True.
For adjudication. So they are saying that they are not owing any consultants. The consultants are saying that, look, the Nigerian Federation is still owing them about $418 million or $419 million. So the Governors Forum is saying that, look, we are not owing anybody. The Argon is saying that, look, the local governments are not owing anybody. So here lies the root of controversy.
Exactly.
So it depends on, if the matter is in the courts, we cannot take sides one way or the other. So we just have to look. I just put out the facts of the matter, so that you see the arguments on both sides, and probably you can make up your mind. The Governors Forum has a very strong argument. Now look, how can an individual who said he rendered legal services by interpreting the content of some agreements is laying claim to $7 million just for himself? That even the highest, the most expensive legal firm in the world cannot put up such fees as legal fees. So they are saying, how can you be asking for $419 million from the Nigerian people's money, in addition to over $370 million that had already been paid, and as far as they are concerned, paid in error to these consultants? And they are saying that there's no reason that the Attorney General of the Federation is the chief law officer of the nation, not of the federal government. He has a dual role as the Minister for Justice, but he's also the Attorney General of the Federation. That means that he should have the interest of both the federal government, the state government, and the local government at heart, and every citizen of Nigeria. That they do not understand why the Attorney General of the Federation seems to be very interested in allowing the Nigerian money being paid to the so-called consultants. That he is too much in a hurry to dispense with that money. That it looked as if he had interest.
Mm-hmm.
So the Attorney General is saying that, look, that the governors are trying to shop, that they're trying to look for a court that will help them. Otherwise, that this matter had been settled long before now. So it's that the governors had consented to the payment before now. It was just that all the payments had not been made. That they made some payment earlier, and that they want to now make the balance of payment. And as a matter of fact, the Attorney General had gone ahead to give some of the consultants what we call promissory notes. When you are giving a promissory note, all you need to do is to go to the central bank or government bank to present the promissory note, and it will be honored, and you have money in your account. Also, it is important to mention that the president has ordered a halt.
Yes.
In continuation of the payment.
Yes.
Until the matter was decisively and conclusively resolved.
True.
So that is the controversy that is festering in a country where some states are not able to pay a minimum wage of 30,000 naira. In a country where some primary school teachers are asking for a minimum wage of 30,000 naira, where some pensioners have not been paid their pensions and gratuity, where, as we speak now, the Nigerian revenue is lower than the cost of servicing debt in Nigeria. In a country where the oil revenue that is supposed to come into Nigeria is being stolen by individuals in Nigeria and being sold abroad. In a country where the education sector is in coma because of lack of funding. In a country where the infrastructures are in decay because of inadequate funding. In a country where the activities of government are not properly funded. The police is poorly funded. The military is not well funded. And the insecurity is therefore festering. Kidnapping here and there. And few individuals are asking to be given monies that run into billions of naira.
I tell you.
Because when you talk about converting $419 million,
yes,
you are talking about billions of naira, depending on the exchange rate you use. So it doesn't seem to make sense to some of us. And that tells you that the kind of things that have been happening in Nigeria ever since the 1970s. A few individuals will gather and make a claim to certain consultancy and take away monies that are running into billions. Therefore, you may be aware, and the listeners may be aware, that the over 170 billion naira that is alleged to have been stolen by the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation was ostensibly stolen by the use of the so-called consultants.
Interesting.
Huge amounts of money, humongous amounts, were paid into some accounts said to be consultant accounts surreptitiously. And from there, the monies were distributed to the surrogates of the accused. The matter is before a court of competent jurisdiction. But just to tell you the kind of things that happen. Some people will carry portfolio because they are close to the seat of power. They push papers. After pushing papers, they collect a large amount of money that should surpass the budget of 2 or 3 states put together. And they go to the Western world. Either they hide it in Luxembourg, or they go to United States to buy a luxury apartment or real estate, or they go to somewhere in Asia and buy an expensive yacht. Whereas the people are suffering in abject poverty.
I tell it's sickening. It has a way of ripping you of positive energy. In fact, this morning before I got to the office, I was listening to normally in the mornings I just go around a couple of radio stations and listen to what's happening, and you find the common man out there is in shambles right now. Now, looking through the House of Reps, I hear there is a call for a reduction in civil service. It shouldn't be retirement age, basically. It shouldn't be 60. It should be reduced to 50. That's in their words. They are saying they're trying to cut. It's trying to cut down on the cost of governance. But there are several other areas which that could reflect. Besides reducing the years of service from 60 to 50, what happens to a man after 50? You sit back and retire to death with apparent hunger and insecurity. In fact, in Enugu, it was cited that the newest trend is taking cars, stealing cars. You just park and then you get back and you don't find your car. Insecurity is on the rise. POS terminals have been, the operators have been harassed. They have been some kidnapped, robbed, and everything. And we're talking about things like this. Now, still on the conversation, 418 million per club fee. Malami Tackle's governor says deductions are justified. And he's saying that the justice minister dismisses all the noise making, it calls it noise, that it has now been generated arising from the governor's forum as unjustified. Away from that also, because the several issues that arose from the Paris Club refund, he also stated that governor's objection was baseless. How do you say this to Nigerians? I think there should be some form of education or what's the word now? Or rhetorical skills that should be deployed when we have those in government. They can be very careless and loose with words, and you tamper with the sensitivity and sensibilities of Nigerians.
I agree with you, Becca, that sometimes elitist arrogance.
It's
goes
sickening.
With people who have ceded our powers to, because they are there at our ordinarily they should be there at our own pleasure.
Yeah.
But the opposite is the case. The moment the person gets to the power, being a councillor in the local government, being the local government chairman, be the commissioner, be it the governors, be it ministers, the members of the National Assembly, when they need votes, they'll come begging. But the moment they are sworn in, you never get them near. It will be democracy for themselves, by themselves, and for themselves. Now, on the aside you raise, it is funny that governors, do you know that it was the governors forum that made the suggestion that federal government should retire civil servants above 50 years and pay them off?
I don't get it.
So in order to save costs.
How?
They have forgotten that a lot of them governors are above 50 years.
Yes.
They should have started by saying that every governor that is above 50 years should be paid off. They should have started by saying that any politician that is above 50 years should be paid off. They have not looked at the retinue of government structures that they run. The special assistant, senior special assistant, senior special assistant. When a governor is running an office with over 1,000 special assistants,
I tell you,
what is he doing with
I
that?
don't know.
An average governor in Nigeria runs with a convoy of about 20 vehicles on the average. What is he doing with them? An average governor has about 350 security agents attached to him or her office. Ranging from police, civil defense, DSS, the military, and so on. And these things are taxpayers' money that is going into the maintenance of such structures.
Of course,
they have not thought about it. All the governors in Nigeria, that a few, have liaison offices in Abuja and other states.
Yes.
Apart from their own state. And they spend a lot of money maintaining them.
It, yeah.
They have not thought about it.
Yes.
I have spoken on different engagements on the reason Nigeria should engage in unicameral legislature. We have, given the state of our development, we have no need for both the Senate and House of Rep. We have no need for that. Every local government in Nigeria is represented by a member of the House of Representatives.
Yes.
So we can as well have the Senate. There is nothing that the Senate is doing that the House of Rep cannot do. You see, they meet twice in a week and go away. I'm not saying that they have no job, but then it's a duplication of meeting. The presidential system of government that we adopted from America is very, very expensive for a democratic society. So even the parliamentary system is cheap, it's a lot cheaper. But I mean, we must practice presidential system of government. We can do with one house in National Assembly. The House of Representatives can suffice. That's unicameral legislature.
Yeah.
Like we have in the state.
Yeah.
But if you know, it was reported sometime that somebody quoted that the National Assembly is taking about 25% of the national budget. How do you justify that? The other day, about 37 billion naira was being requested to renovate the National Assembly. How can we be saying this? You see, we need some persons who are going to show a lot of prudence in managing the resources of Nigeria. I just aside, I tell you, Nigeria is a theater of absurdities.
Oh.
And I spoke to the aside that the comic, because I call it comic theatrics that the governors brought as a way of reducing cost of governance.
I agree with that.
We can reduce cost of governance.
Of course.
Their allowances, by 50%. The governors should reduce their security votes.
We know
by 70%. Therefore, do you know there are governors that take as much as 2 billion naira a month as security votes?
Truly, there are figures you get to read through and hear. It depresses you. It's a normal thing.
The governors of the poor states take as much as 500 million, 600 million a month as security votes.
And then you get to hear the likes. We have the likes coming from the presidency saying that the federal government cannot borrow to fund us or pay off debt. You hear things that it breaks you in bits and in pieces.
No. You see that these are the theatricals that we'll talk about. People like Festus Keyamo coming up to the national TV to make such a statement is ridiculing himself and the government he represents. Because what it means that he is saying that they have run out of ideas on how to fund the activities of government. Yes, I can tell you that there are more than 20 bills that have been passed by the National Assembly for the establishment of new higher institutions in Nigeria.
Quite interesting.
Yet government has no money to fund the existing institutions. Yet they are passing bills and they are putting pressure for some of those bills to be signed into law for a new university to be established in his own constituency because of political reasons, not because of reality, but because of political reasons.
We understand.
And they are not talking about it. It's okay if it's established. They are not talking about the funding, of those institutions that will make it look like institutions that are found in some other countries in Africa. We're not talking about the world. So it does look like people are playing a lot of politics with people's lives. And this is the kind of thing you see in this Paris Fund Refund.
True.
People are playing a lot of politics with it. If Nigeria were to be a protesting nation, you may begin to see Nigerians protest for the resignation of the Attorney General of the Federation. Because you must speak in the public interest at all times.
I agree.
So you must not be in a hurry to favor a smaller group of persons at the detriment of a larger group of persons.
Okay.
Allow the arguments to be exhausted and probably a consensus to be built. And the moment that the consensus is established, you can act on the consensus, not to be seen as being partisan in the argument. It does not go well for the Nigerian state.
I agree, because we have the likes of Ubani saying that the AGF was lawless for insisting on deduction when the case was still in court. However, Malamin further reiterating spoke on the governors having no basis to complain about the $418 million deduction. He stated that governors should blame themselves for creating the liability and indemnifying the same. According to him, the NGF made a request for the refund, and one of the components was the settlement of the consultants who were engaged by the forum. He also recalled that when the Paris Club refund was paid to the states, the governors initially made part payment to the consultants. Well, anyways, at this point, we'll get the audience to be part of the conversation. So, Dr. Chigozie, I'll rather state at this point that you take a breather, we get connected with the audience and take the conversation some notch higher. It's still the point of view right here on Omega 101.7 FM, My Radio, your radio. The program makes a return after this break.
To be part of the conversation, dial 081-5101-7777 and 090-7112-1017. Please make your submissions known in a civilized manner. Put off emotional and all ethno-religious sentiments. Make verifiable claims on this platform. Respect the views of other callers, and 2 minutes is given to every caller. Each person is entitled to only one call to enable others to participate. Point of view, airing your views for the transformation of our society.
Aaron, welcome back. It's time to get you on board the conversation. I think we have someone here, all right. 0815-101-7777 or 0907-112-1017. You can be part of the online community by joining We Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Social, and YouTube at Omega 101.7 FM. Also, Francis Namani is saying that he's watching live from Amagunze. He's saying, honestly, we need to change this narratives in order to get things right. Enough of all these tales. May God help us. Thank you. Hello? A very good morning to you.
It's supposed to come from the veterans from a line. I say good morning to your agent. Mr. Speaker, the Paris Club of Presidents. If you ask me, this is one of the reasons I always told you people that all the people you call as representatives are not representing you. They all go there to represent themselves. Mr. Speaker, permit me to make you to understand one thing, but most of you are afraid to speak out. When you tell you have a legislature, what do they do there to do? They go there to make sure they put things that will favor them, not what will favor the people who are elected them ignorantly there. Mr. Speaker, permit me to inform you again that these people you call your positions, especially in Nigeria, where I told you that it started with corruption in 1960 and continued in such a way. They didn't know the senators allowance, bedroom allowance, wardrobe allowance, coming in and coming out allowance, children allowance, mommy allowance, daddy allowance. All the allowances you will be hearing before to enrich the people. again today. He made and many places, and here you know about sport. You need sport now, nobody will talk about one again. And that's
Hello? A very good morning to you.
yeah, I'm calling from are you the House of representatives? And who is going there? Not everybody will just come and pick ticket they want to run for this thing, we vote for him. We need to begin to checkmate who goes there. Moment you get the right people on board, who cannot take it 100%, 85%, 90%, 80% of the good ones. All the we will forget about British and the Americans. We will forget about them or any other client. Everything will be going right. So please, it's an opportunity to us. Yes, the movement is going. We understand it, but who is those people among all of them? Because many people have seen the movement. We know the criminals. Many of them have jumped into the movement. So we need to beat them out and remove them and put the right people. If we work, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sunny. Okay, 0815-1017-777 or 0907-112-1017. You can be part of the online audience. Follow us on social media handles: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, use social at Omega 101.7 FM. 101.7, I beg your pardon. Hello? Hello?
Good morning.
A very good morning to you.
Yes, I'm listening from England this morning.
Go ahead.
You see, there's no system, there's no country that neglects the principle of accounting and the proper accountability and auditing that will prosper or that will not be messing up in their system. And that is the major problem of our country, Nigeria. We don't give attention to accountability and audition. That's why a sitting governor or president, after his administration, nobody is after how he spend the money, how he use our resources, and all of that. There's no audition, there's no accounting, accountability, and all of those things. So until we set this system in place, where every year the sitting president or the sitting
Hello?
of what has been spent and the remaining, the audition should be carried out properly, both forensic and all of them. Then you see that the system will be running very fine, and we all can be, confident that our money is being used perfectly. But in as much as that accountability system is not there, audition is not there, they will be using our money anyhow, and at the end we'll keep shouting and nothing will happen. So I think the nations that are doing well, they have these systems fully running, and that's why they're making progress. Thank you, man.
All right, thank you so much for calling. One more call, and then we'll hand it over to Dr. Gazi Anardo. He's on the other side listening. He will summarize on the conversation from the views of the callers. 0815-017-777. This is the last call. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Jonathan, my name. I talk to you.
You're welcome, sir.
I'm talking of a race law. One. Pretty much. Our problem is mindset, our own mindset. Even if you saw the world financial impact to come and audit, or the governor and the president to give account of how they spend this money, there must be a manipulation. There must be fraud. So you as you are sitting there, if your mind is not ready to work well, to do the job diligently, automatically that is the thing. The governors and the president, those people who try to make that loan available, their mindset was not in good terms with the people they are using, because they are not using that money judiciously. So whatever we say that they should do this or do that, give us an account of how they spend the money. They didn't want to do anything with it. The money is just a private, went to the private fund.
Okay.
If you look at Nigeria, every time borrowing, you borrow money and you don't know how to pay it. Not that you borrow money to establish your own business, just from that business you pay back the money.
Okay.
We have refinery,
Okay.
And the Port.
Yeah.
So nothing is done. You have good money to repair all these refineries. And now you have to put in money for essential commodities, and that is not. If I say it is not
All right. Thank you so much. And at this point, I'll get connected with Dr. Chigozie Nardo. He will help summarize on the views from the callers this morning. I'm sorry, I can take any other call. Over to you, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. And I'd like to thank informed callers. I agree with them on the fact that the problem is two-sided. One with the leadership and the other with the followership. The citizen must not abandon their responsibility, because we know that the moment we shirk our responsibilities, the political elite who take position of leadership will do whatever they like with our common patrimony. That's the kind of things that we are seeing now. I also agree with them that corruption is one of the biggest singular problems Nigeria has as a nation. And I tell you that the difference between the corrupt and the non-corrupt persons is just opportunity for many people. Because the leaders we get come from the people.
True.
And when we grab the leadership and we still see corrupt people, it tells you that, look, the problem is fundamental. So otherwise, how do you explain the fact that people embezzle the town union money? People embezzle village money. People embezzle their church money where they are going to worship God. So it tells you that it is deep-seated. It is not just there in government. And but people in government, steal such amount of money that's mind-boggling. Yet people around them are suffering. So the issue of Parade Club disagreements still rests around corruption. Otherwise, even if somebody has agreed to pay an amount of money to a person, and another person comes in and says that, look, this amount is a rip-off to the people of Nigeria. It could be renegotiated. Any agreement that you sign that is against public interest can always be reviewed. That is why government is talking about reviewing the agreement of power now, with the discourse. Any agreement that you sign on false premise that's probably against the interest of the people can always be reviewed. So Nigeria, I agree with them that the 2023 elections presents an opportunity, a lifetime opportunity. I totally agree with those who say that we must focus on the subnational government. Because what the governors and local governments do is to fixate us and the president. Why they commit bigger economic crimes against the people. If every state can tell you the amount of money that it has received as federation allocation and the internally generated revenue, and you compare it with what they have achieved for the people, then you realize how much how much embezzlement is happening at the state and local level. You see, a man after being a local government chairman for 2 years or 3 years, he has owned a house in Europe. How? How do you explain that? So you see that kind of thing, but the people look away. They distract you and tell you that, yes, it is important to look at the federal government. It is important. But Nigeria cannot develop without states, leaders in the states and local governments doing very well. That is where development, actually, lies. But so far as we continue to elect people who have no idea of how to develop their state into state leadership, and who continue to practice the filibuster economy where they wait for allocation to come from Abuja every month. And all they do is to distribute the money, collect the humongous amount of money in the name of security vote. We are going nowhere. And also the representative, like the callers have said, the people who represent the people must represent the people. In truth, you don't. You win an election, you don't go to a constituency, you don't hold constituency meetings, you don't discuss with your constituents about what they want. You only come back maybe a few weeks or months to the election to distribute motorcycle and the rice, so that you can tap into their poverty, and get their votes to continue there.
Yeah.
And so I want Nigerians to learn from what happened in Kenya.
Yes.
Or what is unfolding in Kenya currently,
True.
where the status as it were was rejected. A 77-year-old man was rejected for a 55-year-old man.
Ruto.
Yes, Ruto, even when Raila Odinga was supported by Kenyatta, the sitting president.
Yes.
So the people chose a younger man, a man who rose from the scratch, selling wares on the road to become who he became eventually.
Quite interesting.
So I hope and pray that will become a way of charting the future for Africa. Because if Africa begins to elect those who are ready for the work, young enough to do the work, who are ready to take responsibility for the leadership of their countries, and will cascade those things down to the states and local government. And if we get responsible and responsive leadership, we'll begin to change the paradigm.
All right.
And move for the better. Like you said, we can create a future for our children.
Definitely.
There are countries that have created future for children. In Norway, a child that is to be born in 50 years' time has enough foreign reserve to take care of his education to tertiary level.
Wow, quite.
So we must be responsible. If we can't have good society, let us not bequeath it to our children an irresponsible society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for doing this with us yet again this week. Do have a good day.
Thank you.
And thank you too.
I wish you the same.
Yeah. All right. That's how far we can go on the point of view this morning. It's been a wonderful discourse. Tomorrow we're going to look into something else. Yes, the press is in the news. We're looking at the press tomorrow. That's my jurisdiction. All right. At 10:30 will be time for the Late Mega Morning Show with Mimi, and of course several other programs lined up for your listening will follow. My name is Dako Sanami. Good morning.